Let's start this by looking at square roots as inverses. So if I wanted to find the inverse of y is equal to x squared, I would switch x and y. All right, now I would solve for y. So y is plus or minus the square root of x. But we know that we're going to have to somehow restrict our domain in order to have this be a function. So when you have a quadratic, it fails the horizontal line test. Therefore, the inverse will not be a function. To get around this, we simply restrict the domain. So when I'm trying to find the inverse of y equals x squared, I just restrict the domain to x being positive, and then the inverse is a function, and it's equal to the square root of x. So what if I wanted to find the inverse of f of x is x squared plus 3? I'm going to write y is x squared plus 3. Switch x and y. So x is y squared plus 3. Solve for y. So y squared is x minus 3. So y is the square root of x minus 3. Now let's look at the original function. The domain of the original function is all reals. The range is y greater than or equal to 3. So for my inverse here, I forgot to write it. What I want to do here is restrict my domain to be all x greater than or equal to 0. And my range is still going to be y is greater than or equal to 3. When I do this, the domain of my inverse is all x greater than or equal to 3. And the range will be all y greater than or equal to 0. Now, let's remember compositions. Let's use compositions to show that x squared plus 7 is an inverse of the square root of x minus 7. So we're going to do f of g of x is f evaluated at g of x, which is f evaluated at the square root of x minus 7. Which means everywhere in f I have an x, I'm going to put in the square root of x minus 7. So this is going to be the square root of x minus 7 squared plus 7. So this is x minus 7 plus 7. Those are going to cancel. So it's equal to x. But it's equal to x if and only if x is greater than or equal to 0. Now you have to remember you have to do both sides. G of f of x is g evaluated at f of x, which is g evaluated at x squared plus 7, which means everywhere in g I have an x, I'm going to put in x squared plus 7. So this is the square root of x squared plus 7 minus 7. Okay, so those are going to cancel. We're left the square root of x squared, which is x, if x is greater than or equal to 0.